Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trek on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central, Aaron.
Our new time. I hope we didn't take too many people by surprise today. But Gina, I'm happy to be here with you an hour early.
Yes, it's great. It's earlier. I feel like I'm 1 hour less tired. I think you're just finishing up your lunch.
I am indeed, Gina. I'm just finishing up my lunch and ready to talk about cars today.
I think I'm really revved up for today's topic.
We actually super excited to get this engine turned over.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Never heard that one. That's pretty good. We are talking about cars in three ways today. If you are a longtime reader of Scout Life, you know that something that we do every year, we talk about cool cars. This year we did something different. We looked at cars that help us imagine the future of cars. So first, we're going to start by talking about some real cars. These are cars if you have a lot of money, you could buy them, right? Technically?
Yeah, I technically speaking, I think you could. But these, when we say cool cars, in general, these are not the kind of cars that you'll see driving down the road. These are like the coolest, cutting edge, newest type of cars. Some would call them concept cars, which means they may not even ever be available, to people like you and me, Gina. They could be, but they might not be. So they're just kind of a cool idea at this point.
I should have asked this before we went live, but last year, at least at some point during the year, didn't we do an electric cars version of this?
We absolutely did, Gina. Yeah, every year, I think we try to, do some version of this type thing. Yep. And sometimes it's a little bit different. Last year, I think it was electric vehicles. We had some cool like electric trucks and things like that people liked, right?
Yeah, whatever exactly the occasion was for writing that, although I think it was just this cool cars story, has stuck with me. I remember some of those cars. One of them I really want. I think it was called the Canoe, and I have seen more and more about that. And I think there were some like Rivian cars in there, and we're seeing a lot more of those out and about. So that was pretty cool. I'm curious if a year from now we're going to start to see any of these cars, like maybe one's going to be picked up for something, or who knows?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. How many of these cars will we see? These are cars that are made by companies you'll recognize. There's a BMW in here. There's an Audi. There's a Buick. So there's a Nissan. So these are companies. These are companies that make cars that you've seen before. It's interesting to me that these companies are willing. Making a concept car is not cheap. It's interesting that they're willing to spend so much money to build a car. They actually do build these cars. They just don't necessarily widely distribute them. That's interesting to me that they spend so much money to build it like that.
Okay, so again, we're talking about concept cars. These are like when a car manufacturer wants to try out maybe a new idea that they haven't done before, they get to work on these concept cars. So there's, not a ton of them. And this is kind of what launches a lot of groundbreaking driving technology. Sometimes I think they might find a failure in these cars, but this is how maybe they make sure it doesn't, up and coming technology works before it ends up in cars like that you and I drive. And I don't know if you've read the article, but I want to quiz you. Do you know when the first concept car was created?
I did see it earlier. I would never have known that it was as long ago as like the 1930s or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. 1938. Okay. And it showcased features like pop-up headlights, the flush door handles, and power windows. And at the time in 1938, people were like, what?
Right.
That's weird.
Right. Yeah. So think about that back then, those kind of things was just a concept. It was just an idea that somebody had. Hey, we should make the windows, instead of having to crank them, we should have them go up like electronically or powered windows.
Yes.
Nowadays,
and then some guy in the back goes, we'll never have automatic windows in America ever.
That's exactly right. And look where we are today, Gina.
Right. We don't even question it.
Right. Exactly.
So I wonder if some of the features we're going to talk about today are going to end up in our cars in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Right. That's what we need to keep an eye on when we think about this. It seems so far-fetched, but like you said, the idea of electronic windows seemed far-fetched back in the 1930s. So who knows, 5, 10, even 15, 20 years from now, which features in these cars will just be commonplace. People will be doing Facebook Live videos 30 years from now going, can you believe that they didn't think they would have this at some point?
Yes, exactly. It is so funny to think about. I think about that all the time when we are in like office debates about, like a, marketing name or something, or what to name a program, whatever. It's just so funny. I bet we would all look back and laugh if we reflected on it a few years later.
Right.
Okay. The first car, though, on the list that we're talking about in terms of concept cars, and this article is on scoutlife.org, by the way, but we're talking about the BMW iVision D. Do you know what D stands for, Aaron?
Only because I read the article. I had never heard of it before. It stands for Digital Emotional Experience, which is
sounds
interesting.
Great.
Yes, it is. It's very interesting.
Okay, this is a concept featuring empathetic technology, meaning the car can talk to you and show emotions, like winking with its headlights. The driver's side window greets you with a projected avatar image of yourself. The front windshield is also your control dash, displaying navigation data as well as social media messages and virtual world projections. The front windshield technology should go into production by 2025. So that one sounds like it's going to be mainstream.
If I could just say something real quick, I feel like we've been hearing about that for a while. The idea of stuff going on your front window, think about when you're driving right now, you look at the speedometer maybe is right there, but the radio usually is way over here. And of course, people now use their iPhones or their electronic devices to plug in, and you control all that. It seems like for a while we've been hearing that should be right in front of you. So you kind of don't have to take your eyes off the road, right?
I think they call that a heads-up display or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
have you ever driven a car that has one of those? Maybe
I have not.
There are actually quite a few cars now that if you are the driver and you are looking up at the window, they have what's called, I think it's called a heads-up display, and it'll show you something like how fast you're going or like the volume level on the radio, just some really basic stuff.
Right.
But it's kind of a luxury car thing, I think.
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's not something like you and I have those cars. Yeah.
I have a prediction.
Okay.
This will be one of those things that in the not too distant future will be like everybody will have that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. People will look back and go, I can't believe we used to have to look over to the side to see what the air conditioning was set on.
I know we need to move on to the next car, but I remember when we call it CarPlay now, but I remember when the first car had the ability to plug your phone into it, your iPhone into it, and it would kind of mimic the display. And that was like, oh my gosh, everybody wanted that car for that feature that was so important to them. Now a lot of them have that. And even more are starting to have
Play.
Android Play.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
That may not be what it's called, but there's an Android version of CarPlay, right?
Nobody knows what that one's called. The other thing that is cool about that now is a lot of cars are starting to have it wirelessly. You bring your phone into the car and it can mimic your phone's interface, just by knowing it's in there. No cord needed.
Certainly, at some point, that will be right in front of you on the windshield.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Another thing that's interesting about this car that you just mentioned, Gina, is that the exterior color can be customized with a touch of a button. If you want racing stripes or a checkerboard design to match the rest of your car, the 240 panels covering the car can be individually controlled to change color through electrodes that display as many as 32 different colors within seconds. So there'll be a day sometime, Gina, where people will be like, do you remember back when you used to buy a car and you had to choose one color and you were stuck with that color the whole time you had the car? Like that could be something just like, how weird is that? Yeah. My grandpa had a black car and it was just black. It's all it was. It was just a black car the whole time.
Yeah, no, I think that this is something that's like, it's a no-brainer. Cars should do this. I feel like technology is coming to a place where we should be able to do this, but what do I know?
Right. I agree 100%.
Okay, that was, if you want to put it on your Christmas list and you want to get like one of probably like 5 cars that's going to exist like this, the BMW iVision D. And if you get it, please send us a picture.
Yes.
Next up is the Audi. How do you say it? Audi?
I think it's Audi. Yes.
Yeah, Audi Active Sphere. This looks like a car that's going to appeal to some scouts and scouters.
Yes, the Active Sphere is Audi's latest study in improving the driving experience by designing from the inside out. Previously, the company has created convertible sedan and minivan concepts in its Sphere series. Now it's come up with an electric crossover sport utility vehicles. And based on the photos that you can see right there, This guy is designed to go off-road. Panoramic windows on the roof, under the windshield, and at the bottom of the doors let you take in more of the views. The back windshield slides up and transforms the rear into a truck bed, giving you more room to haul gear or bicycles. Put on a pair of augmented reality glasses while you're driving, and virtual controls and maps appear in front of you inside the car. The steering wheel can fold up into the dash, so you sit back and stream a movie while the Actisphere drives you to your next outdoor adventure. Now, self-driving cars, that's a whole nother thing. We could probably do a whole show on that, right, Gina? I remember when I was a kid talking to people about someday cars will just drive themselves down the road and you can just take a nap while you're driving or whatever. We're still not there.
No.
That was a long time ago, but I guess we're getting closer. The idea kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah, I have long dreamed of a world where I could just lay in the back seat, watch a movie, take a nap while my car drove me to work.
Right, exactly. Yes.
I hope it's coming, but you never know. That was one of those things that I have heard so many times. There will never be cars that just drive themselves. There will always have to be humans involved in some capacity. We'll see. We'll see for sure.
We will see indeed.
This next car looks like it costs $40 billion. It looks like it's made of like nothing but titanium. It's super cool looking. Okay, this is the Buick Wildcat EV. You know what EV stands for?
I'm going to guess electric vehicle.
That's what I think.
Yep.
This concept car took 4 years to build. The result highlights elements that will be in production vehicles starting this year, like the company's new logo. An ultra-wide infotainment display, and a new front grille design. The electric Wildcat also hints at Buick's goal to make all its vehicles electric by the end of the decade. A lot of car companies are making pledges like that.
Yeah, they are.
You can easily get in and out thanks to the roof lifting by 15 degrees when the doors open. Inside, the futuristic seats and console appear to float. The Wildcat also uses artificial intelligence and biometrics to help the driver. If you're getting stressed in traffic, the vehicle could detect your heart rate rising, release calming aromatherapy scents, and activate the massaging seats to calm you down. I want that.
Yes,
I don't want it for driving. I would just get stressed in the house and then I'd go sit in the car.
Go sit in the car and relax. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would be afraid that the massaging seats would turn on. I don't want them to turn on when I'm already relaxed and then make me too relaxed. So I hope that technology is perfected to only do that when I'm stressed out and wide awake.
You would hope, but I wouldn't hope that. Not that I would ever drive sleepy, but there's never a time where I wouldn't take a car massage. I'm sorry, I'll just say it.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. And Gina, our last very, very cool concept car that we're going to talk about today. This one has maybe, the names of some of these cars are so interesting. Wildcat EV, Audi Active Sphere, iVision D. This one has kind of the funniest name. It's the Chillout. It's made by Nissan. That's
me in the picture. That's a projection of what I will be like in 20 years.
It's called the Chillout. You look great, Gina. That's amazing.
I know.
When you're, yes.
Yeah, anti-aging has come a long way, but I'm just thinking that's probably the point at which I might have a vehicle like this.
Gotcha. Yes, this is the Nissan Chillout, and you can see how it gets its name based on the way Gina there is relaxing in the front seat. The Chillout is one of a few concepts that Nissan revealed in its efforts to offer a smoother and safer drive in its future electric vehicles. The position of the all-solid electric battery on the vehicle's chassis, along with an improved powertrain and traction control, provides better overall control and responsiveness. The concepts include a convertible, a truck, an SUV, and they, like all concept cars, like we said, this is really just kind of a tease of what could be coming in the future as the company invests more in its electric lineup. With the Chillout crossover, the simple large dashboard, you can see how you can, speaking of that's like a wide CarPlay screen there, right? Let you sit back, relax, and watch a movie. The interior lighting surrounds the seats, creating a futuristic atmosphere.
I would definitely say it looks futuristic.
Yeah.
How does the car not spill the popcorn?
Yeah, I still can't imagine just being so confident in a self-driving car that you're watching a movie.
Not yet.
I still need to be paying. Yeah, I need to be paying attention to the road, but maybe someday.
I have heard the argument, and probably to us now it sounds so foreign, but like right now we think, what are the ethics of if you don't have a human behind the wheel making the decisions on what is safe and what is not safe. And I think what is a challenge for car manufacturers is this technology. They know more about this technology than us in a lot of ways, and they've seen things that we haven't seen. And I think they feel a duty, maybe to some extent, that there's ethics when cars can do this. Is it ethical to leave it in human hands when there are potentially computers and that can assess risk quicker than we can? Yeah, at least more quickly.
Yep.
And now, I think that we would definitely have them beat when it comes to sitting and thinking through a problem, at least right now.
Right. Yeah. It could be that someday people are looking back and saying, can you believe that humans used to actually have to drive a car? That you had to actually, you had to be the one to react if the car in front of you slowed down all of a sudden, or if somebody walked in front of you, when now the machines can react so much faster and so much more reliabler than
more reliably.
More reliably. Yes. Thank you.
It is wild when you think about it sometimes. I know we have viewers who operate heavy machinery and had to have a lot of training to do that. But everyone who drives, it's like you are operating a behemoth of machinery every day at the highest speeds with like the highest risk. And it's wild to think that we get to do that. I love that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is amazing to think when you're cruising down the road at however fast you might be driving, if you're on a highway, 60, 70 miles an hour, right? And there's a car right next to you, you're going to be going exactly the same speed. There's a car, a little bit in front of you. They're going the same speed. There's everybody. They're all going around the same speed.
And you're going to drive it. Yeah. I loved that car commercial. I wish I could remember the manufacturer right now, but I love that car commercial. And it looked like it was kind of in the future. It was set in the future and all the cars were self-driving. And this guy just enjoyed the simple luxury of getting out his old car, it's futuristic now, but it was his old car that he could drive himself, and just the feel of still getting to drive the car.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that'll be us someday when we're old and gray. We'll be the ones out there insisting that we drive our own cars.
Right. Well, Brian, behind the scenes, Brian kind of put together something that I could not say better than he wrote it. We got our wheels turning with these concept cars, and we decided we wanted to create some concept cars, but at least me, we're bad artists. So we looked where many, many folks are looking these days for design help.
Yeah. The concept cars that we just showed you, the car companies hire professional, graphic designers, right, artists to sort of put their vision on, I would say pen and paper, but it's probably on a computer, right? We don't have the resources to do that, nor do we have the talent to do that. But we do have one thing: we have access to AI, something that we didn't have just a few years ago. So
yes.
I wonder what would happen if we asked artificial intelligence to create some really cool futuristic concept cars for us.
Yeah, I love this
idea, Gina.
It's an interesting idea. And guys, you want to stay tuned right now. You want to tag folks if they are artists in the comments, scouts who are going to be able to watch this after school, because we're going to pass the gauntlet over to you at the end of this. We're going to be asking you not only to vote for your favorite cars, but to share your own AI car designs. First, let's take a look at some of the cars that we put together.
Yep.
And actually a very skilled artist. It was behind the AI on this. We just, if it was me, I would say bad artist. He's
right.
Not really. Now this is cool. Does it call to mind any, car to you?
It definitely looks like a race car, with the aerodynamic design. I don't know that it calls to mind a specific model of car to me. Does it to you?
It looks to me like the Batmobile. The Batman.
You know what the Batman car is called?
I said Batmobile. Batmobile.
Yes. Okay. No, there's lots of different versions of the Batmobile. Do you know which one? I mean, is it the one from the TV show from the 60s? Is it the 1980s version?
V3.12.
V3. I'm not sure which one that is, but give me a Batmobile, sure. Now here's a rugged off-road looking AI car right here. This guy can go anywhere.
Okay, yeah, this looks very, very scouty. This looks like an amped up like Jeep or 4Runner or something.
Plenty of lights on the front, which I like. That makes a big difference when you're in the middle of the night exploring the wilderness. You got to have lots of lights like that to show the way.
Rusty commented and said, if you're going to design a car, please make it easy to work on. That's a good point for a handy folks out there.
I bet that is, I bet the mechanics and stuff like that work for these companies, I bet they absolutely have input on how difficult it would be to maintain one of these cars or work on a certain part if something goes wrong, right?
Yes. And you know what? I'm so inspired by what we're looking at right now. I'm trying to design my own AI car as we go. So if you guys have any feedback for things you want to add to what I'm describing this car as, let me know. I'll add it to my list. Maybe we'll be able to show it during the show. We might not be able to, but if nothing else, it'll end up in the gallery. So far, I have car with a hat that's blue and super fast and easy to work on.
Easy to work on. I bet that this car right here, this to me does not look easy to work on. Just from
I'm
my
sure all of these are
right
hard.
from my very amateur view.
Yeah. I don't really know, but I'm just imagining they're kind of like all electric and like less manual, but I don't know what I'm talking about. This is cool. It also looks like it's at like some kind of futuristic fair.
Yeah.
I like that.
Not only do I don't know what's going on with the car, I want to know where it is. Now this one looks like a little bit more of like a regular SUV. Obviously there's something going on the top there.
Yeah, like some kind of future. This
like
is so
future luggage rack
wild.
at the top there. Yes. And there's also definitely some advanced technology on the bumpers going around there.
Yeah, you're right. That's like some kind of a roof rack with like a futuristic surfboard, and the environment itself, there's some kind of like bugs with umbrellas, giant bugs with umbrellas.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tires. These look like tires we could really see on a car for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think those sticky notes sticking out the doors say?
I didn't even notice the bugs with umbrellas. That's really interesting. That's what those things are in the sky, right?
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. And then there's like some weird seashells also. Okay, this is like going down the Pacific coast for sure.
Yes,
this looks like something we just looked at in the real concept cars.
It totally does. It also looks longer than the average sedan, right? I wonder if there's an extra row of seats. It's kind of hard to tell, but there might be an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah, there might be. Or like a few too.
And I sort of look at this car and I think about a scene from a movie when they show a futuristic car and it's totally silent because it's electric. That's what I think this thing is.
It looks like a car commercial.
Yes, it zooms by the ocean and you don't hear the car at all. All you hear are the ocean waves. That's my prediction on this one.
Okay. Oh boy, does this even count as a car? No, it's a spacecraft.
No, it's a car. So two things that have been around forever: self-driving cars and flying cars are I should say two ideas that have been around forever. A car that can drive itself and then a car that can fly. So this is a car that can fly. I think it's totally a car. It doesn't fly all the time. It only flies when it has to.
Okay. Sure. Hover cars are going to be a thing. And now we've got this. Now this I know is a motorcycle. I know that if it has, thanks to our friends at Polaris, I know if it has 3 wheels, it's a motorcycle.
If it has, is that true? If it has 3 wheels, it's a motorcycle?
I'm pretty sure. If it has fewer than 4.
This looks more like just like a scooter that you would see that goes through like a busy urban area where there's lots of people around, and you maybe you need to be able to have something that can drive through tight spaces. The roads are full of, it's like there's a craft fair going on, right? There's people selling goods in the streets, and you need something small that you can just maneuver through there.
Yes,
That's what
absolutely.
This is for. Yes.
Ooh,
that's one thing that
this looks normal.
Right. One thing we haven't talked about is an RV, because those are going to change, right? Just like everything else changes.
Yeah.
I think the difference with this one, Gina, is the sort of accessories, the way it opens up like that, and the stuff that it can do when you're parked.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I can't tell. This looks just like a totally normal but very big and cool RV to me. I'm trying to look at all the little details because sometimes there's something just a little wild in AI. The chairs look pretty normal. I guess one of them has 5 legs.
Yeah.
6 legs.
It's
And
got
then
a cool paint job.
yeah. Huh. Love it.
Now this one,
Hmm.
borderline if this one's a car.
This looks like
Right?
a rover, like a Mars
6
rover, right?
wheels, right, exactly, yes. Um, yeah, this looks like some sort of work vehicle that's designed to go into some tough environments, I think.
Definitely. Definitely on another planet. Okay, we've got 2 more that we designed.
And
Okay, we
then,
were very creative with what we considered a car for sure.
yes, yes. And that's another thing. Okay, we've had self-driving cars, flying cars, and the other thing is cars that can go over water. So because if you're sitting in
That is another
traffic
thing.
and
That
there's a
is.
lake right there next to you, you need to be able to shoot right over that thing. You shouldn't have to sit there and wait.
Yep. We should have made up features for these. For this next car, let's make up whatever features we think futuristic
Okay.
features has.
All right. The good news is that was the last one.
The good news is the next car that we're going to show is actually one that a reader submitted. So I think we mentioned that readers can submit their own cars. You can design your own cars, submit them, and you can vote on the cars that have already been submitted and that we've created. I think
I'm gonna vote on one right now, Gina, since I've got it up on my screen.
Okay.
Did you vote?
I haven't voted yet. I mean, I would never actually vote amongst how many awesome ones there must be. But I think we do have one or 2 that we were going to show, I think.
Yes, we have a couple, I think, of reader submitted cars.
Yes, okay.
That's cool.
This has it's really hard to one up what the real concept cars have. They like literally have like empathy right now, so I don't know what else a car could do.
Right. This looks like a souped up race car.
Okay,
this is like a Formula One type souped up, souped up cool race car, I think.
Okay, I'm with that. Ooh, this is like a UTV.
Yes, exactly. Like a hybrid between an ATV and an SUV with no doors on there. It's designed to get in and out of quickly.
Yes.
I think that's the idea. That's why there's no doors. You're probably not going to be going 60, 70 miles an hour because you're going to spend most of your time off-road. And it's loaded. You know what it's loaded with, Gina, is like research equipment. So you can go out in the jungle or the forest or wherever they are and look for dinosaurs, things like that.
Okay. I like how specific you're getting. This
Gina,
one's wild.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
This is a car you actually can use as a tiny home in a really like cataclysmic environment. It's meant to like keep you safe from literally anything you can think of.
Right. The zombie apocalypse, for example, would be one. Right. This also kind of looks to me like a car that would have been considered a futuristic car when I was a kid in the 80s. This is what we thought futuristic cars would look like, I think, something like this.
Okay.
We had weird ideas, Gina, back then of what futuristic cars were going to look like.
Ooh.
This looks very futuristic. This is an idea of what people think what people think about what futuristic cars are going to look like, I think.
Okay, yeah. It almost looks like an alien with its mouth open.
Yeah, it does. Maybe it is.
And
maybe
that's one feature about
it. Exactly. Yes.
That's one feature about it is that it is made to look like aliens, so they are more likely to see you as a friend.
Now, here's an important question, Gina. Is this car on solid ground? Is it in the air, or is it on
floating?
Water?
Yeah, it's definitely floating.
Floating in the air?
Yeah,
I agree.
Of course.
Agreed. So there you go, another flying car.
Ooh, this looks spooky.
This is very interesting.
I know what this car does.
This car looks like a mix between like a classic old car and like a cutting edge modern new car, right? It's got that, look at the steering wheel and the mirror. I mean, that the whole front windshield and look like a Buick from the 60s or something, right?
Yeah, right. And the one really cool feature about this car is that it will solve a mystery for you. That's just one. It's called feature play.
What mystery
Wait,
is
it's
it
called
called?
mystery. Wait, mystery. Well, let me think about this. Car mystery play.
And here is our last user submitted car. Now this definitely looks futuristic here. Like I'm having a hard time telling even how many
Looks
wheels
like a
it has.
spaceship.
Yeah, this thing can fly for sure.
Yeah,
And the
this.
windshield. Can you see
You
over the
know.
windshield?
Oh, I don't know. It looks like there's water inside of it.
Right,
This
right.
is a car for fish.
This is a car for the aquatic aliens when they come to visit us. They can drive around in this and stay within their aquatic environment.
The car before this, it's funny. I don't know if behind the scenes Brian sees it or I can add it, but I was messing around, like I said, with AI, and I was adding you guys' input from the comments, making a car that was easy to work on. And for some reason, have in my head a blue car with a hat on. The car right before the second to last one looks very similar, honestly, to this one that I came up with. Now that's an interesting hat, I would say.
Now, yeah, it really is. What's going on with the hat there?
That's what a hat for a car looks like.
Okay, well, I like it.
I do like it. I'm proud of it.
The bottom line with concept cars and even AI cars is that it's a place where you explore ideas. And so it could be that in the future, people look back and say, do you remember when we used to have cars that didn't have hats?
Yes, exactly.
They were crazy back then, not putting hats on their cars.
Yes, no hat on your car.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you have a car without a hat?
We talked about, when we were talking about today's show, Aaron, your head went to one place.
Well, yeah, me being me, when we talk about like futuristic cars and AI cars and concept cars, I like to think that in movies and TV shows are places where we've seen these. We've already seen some cars like this in action, right, so to speak. So I gave a few to behind the scenes, Brian, that I wanted to show to you and to our viewers to see, without me saying anything, if you can recognize them. Some of them are pretty iconic, I think. Some of them are maybe not. But Brian, go ahead and show up the first one. Let's see if Gina and any viewers can recognize this. Does that car look familiar to you at all, Gina? You might be a little bit too young to know what this one is.
Yeah, I initially guessed the Grease Lightning car. I love this game already, by the way. So it is not that. Does anybody at home know what this car is? Because I clearly do not.
While we leave the car on the screen for just a few minutes, I will just say that this. Go ahead, Gina.
Know. It's Speed Racer. Go
Rusty
Speed
has
Racer.
gotten it correct.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed
and
Racer.
This photo here is actually not a photo. Speed Racer was a cartoon that I grew up watching. Thank you, Rusty, the Mach 5. Yes. Speed Racer was a cartoon that I grew up watching. It was also made into a movie. That movie came out, it looks like around 2008 or so. Okay. And in that year, at the car show that we cover, the same thing we write about in Scout Life magazine, this is an actual photo of a car that was made for that car show, a concept car of a car from a movie that you could actually drive around.
That's so cool. I was a big fan of the song. Never seen the car.
So you knew the song.
That was a very catchy song.
Yes, that was an excellent song. Our next car from movies or TV shows,
Batmobile.
Gina? Yes, Gina, you even already guessed this one earlier. Do you know which Batmobile this is?
This is from the movies.
This is from which movies, though?
Oh, the ones with the best Batman.
This is the movie. This is the Batmobile from the 1989 Michael Keaton starring Batman movie. Yes. And once again, though, you might. Yeah, go ahead.
Are they Aston Martins now in the Batman movies, or something? Isn't it a real car at this point?
So the last several Batman movies have had more practical looking cars. I don't know for sure. That may be right.
Okay.
For a while it looked more like a big rugged SUV. The most recent one might have been an Aston Martin. I don't know for sure. That's a great question, Gina. But I do know that, once again, this photo right here, this is not from the movie. This is a photo of an actual car, working car that was made in the year. This is just actually made last fall. Do you want to know how much this car sold for?
Yeah.
1.5 million, which really doesn't seem that much to me.
No.
Someone paid 1.5 million for an actual working Batmobile car that looks just like this.
It doesn't look that far off from like an F1 car or something.
Right. Totally. I'm sure that was the inspiration. Yes, exactly. We've got a few more cars from, we'll say, sort of pop culture, movies, TV shows. I kind of cheated on this one a little bit. This is more like a, some people would call it a motorcycle or a cycle. Rusty, I'm counting on you, buddy, to be able to identify this because it doesn't look like Gina can identify with this one.
I have a few wild guesses, and then there's a movie I'm trying to remember what the name is, but I don't.
Along the lines, Rusty. I knew I could count on Rusty. This is a light cycle. Is what it was called. This is again from a movie. It came out when I was a child. It was re-released, or I should say remade, maybe around the year. It's been about 10 or 12 years since that movie came out. Once again, though, Gina, so the original Tron movie that came out in the 80s was known for its inventive, they didn't even call it CGI back then. It was just computer graphics. And the new one, of course, used modern computer graphics. This, though, again, is a photo of an actual real light cycle, is what it's called. It sold for only $35,000. That doesn't seem like that much for a light cycle. Possibly one of the reasons why.
Real?
Yes, this is actually... That's an actual real engine down there with the real motor.
Those are wheels.
Yeah, those are the wheels right there on the bottom. Those are the wheels. They spin. This is an actual real car. They only go about 35 miles an hour, though, which is probably why, they're relatively cheap. You can't really.
I didn't know there was an original Tron. Sorry.
Moving on to our next favorite car. I got a feeling you're going to recognize this one.
Isn't it? It looks so old school. Gosh, it's definitely the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yes, and once again, this is an actual real-life car, an actual real-life DeLorean that has been souped up to look like the one from the movie. This one was auctioned off for charity a few years ago. I don't have in front of me how much it went for, but once again, nowadays, cars go from like concepts to in movies, and then people go and make the actual car itself based on the movie concept. Now, this is a DeLorean, which of course started with the base of there is a real car called a DeLorean. But obviously, to the best of my knowledge, it doesn't actually travel through time as far as we know.
Was this car supposed to look futuristic at the time?
No,
was it supposed to look like a retrofitted 80s car?
Exactly. It was supposed to look like a current car that had been a time machine functionality was added to it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes, exactly. And of course, me, our last and final
Star Wars car.
What does that even mean, Star Wars car?
I don't know. It's just there we go.
It's actually a land speeder. What it's called, Gina. No, this is a picture from the movie. But when Star Wars kind of got rebooted in the late 2000 teens, around 2020, a YouTuber actually went out and built a jet-powered land speeder. Again, another example of something going from concept to movies. And this was a special effect when it came out in 1977. But now in the year 2023, you can actually build a speeder car that floats. It's not very practical.
Floats?
Doesn't go super fast. Yeah. Thanks to, I'm glad you asked that, Gina, because it uses, fan. It's like,
it's like barely taking off.
Yeah, it's not going very far.
Wow. This is a picture from the movie, or were you just saying this is a YouTuber who rebuilt it?
This is a picture from a movie. But what I'm saying is an engineer on YouTube was able to build one and replicate the floating aspect of it. Now, it's not something you would want to drive around the neighborhood or anything like that, but it does.
Rusty mentions that we missed Kit from Knight Rider.
Oh, Rusty! Why didn't I think of
you?
Kit
Missed Herbie from Herbie Fully Loaded, also. Very important car in history. I mean, do any of these cars have a movie named after them?
I agree with Rusty on Kit. Not sure I agree with Gina on Herbie.
Let us know what is the most iconic car in your mind from pop culture, TV shows, movies, and something very important. We need you to put your creativity to the test. You can create your own AI car and submit it at go.scoutlife.org/AI cars. And you can vote for your favorites amongst the ones already submitted. Are you going to submit a car, Aaron?
I believe that I am, Gina. Yes, I am going to do it right now. Now that you say
I'm
that.
going to play with AI for a little while after today's show and design cars just for my own amusement.
Thank y'all for watching. We hope you enjoy our car-centric Trek on Tuesday at our new time. We'll be back at this same time next week, 2 p.m. Central. Good job,
Yes.
Gina. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye, everybody.